Well, it's that time of the week for Freddy's Power Rankings. It's good to be in the big studio with the great man. Hello, Bradley.
Hey, James.
Nice to see you.
You too.
We've got lots to get through today, so let's rip and tear straight in your Power Rankings for teams to start things today. And there's a bit of moving.
Not much.
Not a huge amount. A bit more in the players, but it's the Bulldogs. They stay put on the back of that nail-biting win over the Warriors on Sunday.
I'm enjoying watching the Bulldogs at the moment. Very spirited.
Yeah, Lachlan Lewis, how good. But look at that team. Into the 10, the Raiders, and what a win it was. So just ground out the Roosters in the nation's capital on Sunday.
Yeah, we're going to look at a lot of their attack, but what it was their defence. Their right inside has shown once again why they're the most dangerous in the competition. They get the points no problem at all. Nick Kotrick just finding space through the middle. Here's Rapana again. Have a look at him. He's mad, isn't he? They are mad as cut snakes, but this is a part of their game which was outstanding. Their defence was brilliant. Well, they did a brilliant job on Latrell. They did a brilliant job across the park. You know, a really good win from down there. I think we've all spoke about what sort of season they've had and what could have been, but it was good to see they finally got a result, although it was against the Roosters. But anyway, well done.
Let's continue up those rankings. A couple of teams on the slide in your eyes, Bradley, in 8 spots with just 2 rounds to go. The Panthers from 5th, and ahead of them, the Warriors sitting in 7th. They were in 6th last week, and a team on the rise, replacing one of those sides, the Broncos, jumping up to 6th on the back of that win. And boy, it was a much-needed one on Thursday against the Rabbitohs. Yeah,
they started on fire. A couple of tries came from very similar plays. Cut-out balls to Corey Oates once again. Poor old Richie Kenner came in. He ended up scoring a few tries, so his night wasn't all doom and gloom. Sims has shown once again he's a try-scoring beast. And Corey Oates really sealed the victory. This is with 20 minutes to go, and they went on to win the game comfortably. This is a young fella, Dave Fafita. He's a real player of the future. Just a sign of what they've got in young forwards coming through. Often Gowie, Payne Haas, Dave Fafita. Lodge is only young, so they've got quite the forward pack up there.
You talk about a team winning when they needed to. That was the Broncos.
They were desperate.
So too, Saturday afternoon at Leichhardt, the Dragons, they were going into a match knowing the Tigers were playing for their season, and they were in big trouble off the back of a lean run. They won the match by 10 points, Bradley, and now jump from 7 to 5 in your rankings.
Yeah, the Dragons had 7 penalties, gave 7 penalties to the Tigers, and they couldn't come up with anything. They were the first to score. Tim Laffey taking over the duties from Gareth Widdop. But awesome atmosphere, 2 Sydney clubs, and just would have been an awesome experience. I think the coach, Paul McGregor, spoke after the game and just said, that was mostly one of the best wins he's had as coach. And when you look at all their tries, it was just from hard running. They weren't passing. I think, it's mostly a good thing to do while Gareth's not here. And then when Gareth comes back, he just slides into a real tough mentality. All
right, let's look at your top 4 in your team power rankings. Sitting in 4th spot on the back of that win over the Cowboys, a hard-fought one on Saturday night. Yeah, the Sharks stay put. Number 3 team slipped from number 2, the South Sydney Rabbitohs, following the loss in Brisbane. Ahead of them, jumping from 3rd to 2nd, the Melbourne Storm, gritty win over the Parramatta Eels on Friday night, 20-4. And team in number 1 spot, they have stayed there for another week, the Roosters, despite that slip up in the nation's capital.
Yeah, freezing cold down there. The boys from Bondi just went just a little bit off their game, so let's not throw the baby out with the bathwater.
And what a big match it is against the Broncos here on 9 this Saturday night. Let's have a look at Freddy's player power rankings. And there's been a big clean out. You've done some real moving and shaking, Bradley, as we have a look at number 1. He's in. Wasn't last week. Mitchell Pearce.
Great kicking game.
You liked what you saw against the Panthers.
Outstanding.
Ahead of him in 9th spot, another new face, Josh Hodgson, the back of the Raiders win on Sunday afternoon. And another newbie into your top 10 in 8th spot, Luciano Leilua. Been so much talk about this Dragon throughout the season, Bradley.
Yeah, the big difference about the Dragons was how hard they ran. They just stopped trying to pass around teams and just ran hard. Beautiful play by Luciano. He scored a try later on. He set up their first try. Everything he did, just real power. He's going to come off the bench this week, and I can imagine that he's going to have some real good impact. Look at that, just at the line, using his size and power and speed. But what an awesome game for Luciano, and I think that could be his turner. He's one of those players that maybe he just needs a game to show what he can do, and maybe that's the one for him.
And we know, of course, Paul Vaughan for the rest of the year too. That they need his size and skill.
He plays a bit more on the edge, but he looks like he can play in the middle, maybe limit his minutes with James Graham and some other front rowers there.
Yep.
They could take up the bigger minutes.
All right, let's continue up your player power rankings from the Gold Coast Titans. AJ Brimson, what a year he's having. Back into the year's been unreal for the Gold Coast, and they needed him on the weekend in that win over the Manly Seagulls. Ahead of him, another new face this week, Cameron Munster, a man in demand, if you believe the reports, with the Cowboys and Roosters looming. Ahead of him, though, on his 22nd birthday, a try and the winning field goal for almost 40 metres out, young Lachlan Lewis.
How good.
It's a great story.
Yeah, how good's this bloke to just watch play. You can just see there's an energy about him. You know, that he just wants to be out there. I remember the interview forever, actually, the interview with him. Just how, you know, he's just glowing, just to be out there. Very grateful, and there he was. There's a match winner. What a moment. I'm sure he was nervous he was going to make the links. He looks like he's got no strength in him, but he just finds a way to get himself around the field and around the park. And you can see he's a real favourite of the team, so good on him, mate. I love watching him play.
Yeah, he's been good to watch in the back end of the year for the Bulldogs in what's been a bit of a tough season for them. Let's continue up those player power rankings into the 4. Corey Oates, we saw him score a try in that win for the Broncos. He sits in 4th spot, another fresh face this week. Someone who's featured heavily in your top 10 this year is ahead of him. Up to 3rd from 8th, big turbo Tommy Trbojevic. And in number 2, another new face. He won't be featuring for the Storm this coming week, though, big Nelson Asofa-Solomona, Bradley.
They're going to miss Nelson. He came on with a huge impact. It was like he was playing out of his age group. He's just so powerful. He's really learning the game at the moment. He's getting good minutes out there. Real shame that he, look at that, just took on 3 of them, just ran over the top of them, just wanted it more than them. And pretty much did it the whole game when he was on. They're going to miss him a lot because the game was quite in the balance while he wasn't out there. But there was something, he just scattered him. Just absolutely scattered him. And a bit of a right ankle sprain, I think only, what do they say, 2 or 3 weeks?
Yeah, it's touch and go with him at the moment, but they'll need him there for the finals.
Oh, they sure will. He's a good player.
It's a long list of injuries for the Melbourne Storm. So he sits in number 2, big Nelson Asofa-Solomona. You're asking who sits in number 1. It was the man that was in 2 last week, Valentine Holmes from the Cronulla Sharks. And there's a bit of talk. We were talking to Paul Gallen, 100% footy on Monday night. There was a bit of concern that he hasn't taken up that extension from the Cronulla Sharks at the moment. He's been linked to the Cowboys and a move up there.
He's from that way.
Family ties.
Yeah.
So he's a man in demand, in great form though.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, you can see the Cowboys why they want him. They missed out on Kalen Ponga, and they're going to need some really good signings to turn that club around, given they're going to lose a couple of players over the next couple of years, JT particularly.
Yep.
But, yeah, Cronulla, they seem to have some good outside backs, so I suppose watch his space.
All right, the Roosters, your top team. Valentine Holmes, your top player. Bradley, thank you very much as always.
Righto.
They are Freddy's Power Rankings after 23 rounds of the National Rugby League.